Hi everyone, how you going? It's Brigette from Brigitte's Cottage. Today I want to show you what I did in the sunshine garden yesterday. So today's Monday. It's a beautiful start to the day. It's about, I reckon 8 o'clock here in Charleston in South Australia in the Adelaide Hills, and yesterday it was very warm, but not too warm for me to get outside. It wasn't as hot as I thought it was going to be, but I am tired. I did get stuck into it, and I've given the sunshine garden a really big trim. So I also cut my hair the other day, so it just seems to be a bit of a theme for me. I'm going to turn the phone round and we'll start having a look at what I've done. So here we are walking along the palette area. I've got the circle garden, and straight away, well, besides the fact that you can see Rory, there's an arbor missing. Okay, so we've removed the arbor that was there, and that's going to be replaced with something new, an upcycled arch. That's the plan. And here we are at the sunshine garden. I have got mulching there, I've got green waste there, maybe not all of it, but I've pulled up some of the white arum lilies, the big white peace lilies. They were in there, but they get really invasive. They're actually considered something that I'm not allowed to sell them. They are lovely for flowers, but the bugs love them, so I have to sort of be really lucky to get them without them being tainted from the bugs. So yeah, I've pulled back all the calendulas that were real scrappy, cut back the valerian, you demonstrate Rory, cut back the penstemon, salvias, roses. Fennel has had a really good haircut. Princess lilies have had a bit of a deadheading. Pluck them out to increase more growth at the bottom of the bulbs. Arctosis, honestly, this looks so much better just from getting in and removing the old stuff. This is a new one, but this one here is a little bit old. I don't think that's gonna grow. We had some really hot weather, like a real hot spell, and I've missed a weed, I can see. Had a really hot spell, and it really does crisp up things. So I had to basically, some of the leaves were really burnt. So I've got some still in there that I have missed, but like you'll see here that the windflower has been quite burnt. So I removed some of those really dried off leaves. The Cape fuchsia had some old flower heads on it. Pretty much rule of thumb is get in and remove, trim back after flowering. So the salvias are constantly flowering, so I just gave them a good haircut, and that will just help them flush back up again. I'll show you an example after as well with the sage, if I remember. So this area here is now an area where I can put some more plants in. You can see what I've done. So just over there, back here, and then here's one that's a bit closer. Well, here's one here I can show you. I've cut the fennel right back, really hard here, and then this one, couple next to the bird water there, I've let go. I've also left this one just stay there because it's in beautiful flower, and it's still adding some height and interest in the garden. The rose was just getting smothered by the fennel and just didn't stand a chance. So I'm actually giving it a really good chance by removing the fennel for now, and also the bog sage, Salvia euglosia, beautiful tall blue flower. Not really good for picking, but I love the effect of it. The birds like it, and I love how it waves in the breeze, that sort of thing. But that needed to be cut back really quite hard as well, and I've let that go spread because I'm going to be taking some, digging up some to sell. And this salvia here, I can't remember the exact name. I think it might be Bethel sage, I'm not sure, but beautiful big pink flowers. And this one here, I'm going to be taking some cuttings. So I didn't want to just cull it to chuck it out. I really want to, this one I can spread by root, but it's better to actually propagate it by the stems for me because it doesn't spread like the bog sage. So that's a real beauty, and I want to definitely get that one propagated on to sell. So yes, the boys, well, my youngest came out and he said, "Oh, Mum, I really missed," never comments on the garden. And he came out and he goes, "Oh, you've moved the trees. It doesn't look so nice anymore." So they do notice. But this big fennel here that I just showed you before, that's behind the chair there. So I haven't even moved the chair. That's just how much space is behind the chair normally. And yeah, like I said to him, that's going to come back. Don't worry. So, oh, okay then. So we've basically got some more room here. I can maybe put some sunflowers in. They grow in this area here pretty well. And I cut this rose down. This is going to get moved. And I've just put some pots there because there was a couple of stakes in the ground that I couldn't move out. That was a rose that I thought was a double delight, but it's ended up, it's quite a non, as far as I'm seeing, it's nothing special, but I'm thinking I might put it over near the creek. I've culled back all these purple agapanthus. You can see some of my cuttings here. This is more the tops of the fennel. Now, I'll talk about that in a sec, but the agapanthus had been really quite burnt with the sun, so it wasn't at its best. I don't collect seed for the agapanthus because the best way to propagate it is just literally to dig up some of the actual roots, and they just grow so easy here, so I don't need to worry about seeds with them. If I wanted to collect seeds, I would have let it go to seed. Basically, that's the way I'm working with the garden. You can see here it's opened up all this area. There's some penstemon, some salvia, and we got chocolate mint, more salvia. So this is the hot lips salvia. It's really pretty, but I'm just trying to keep it in a bit of a mound shape, and then it really will just sprawl like crazy. So you got to give it a sense of being compact. I would recommend, so like with my penstemon, this is still in flower. I wouldn't cut it while it's having a nice flower, but I would cut it back to about here. So I would cut it as if I was cutting it for a stem for the my vase. So the salvia over here, you can see I've gone in and I've left some longer, and then I've gone back probably a third. And in autumn, I'll probably cut it back a little bit more. It will die down, but that's when I'll try and take some cuttings and I'll put them in the greenhouse and try and strike some cuttings when it's cooler. So yes, agapanthus, the reason I culled them, normally I would say let any bulb die right down to regenerate the growth into the tuber, root, rhizome, whatever it is. But we have European wasps here, and when these die off, they get in and they eat the agapanthus stalks. So I just made the decision to cull them this year early. We have got enough agapanthus there that I know they're going to grow prolifically next year. The fennel, the reason I want to also get in and cull it back now is because they will self-seed everywhere, and I need to be responsible for my neighbourhood because they can just go wild and go crazy. So I love the fennel for how I use it in my garden, but please be mindful that anything that given the extra water, if it grows naturally in the wild and then it's given extra water in a garden, extra nourishment like good soil, it's just going to go crazy and it will hog out your other plants. So use it wisely, cull it back, and the leaves, I've got like a whole heap of leaves here. These will go in to the chicken bedding, and I'll probably just chuck a heap of, I'll cut this right up small and put it in with the chickens, and they can just, toss it around and they'll turn that into compost for me. So we might get a few seeds come up, but I've got it under control, you know what I mean? So the chooks are going to be continually scratching it up. They're not going to take root and go crazy. But what I do is I've been piling what I've been cutting. So these are really tall, what I've been cutting out. So for example, this one here, oops, I'll just chuck it down there. So pretty tall. That's a good, it's nearly metre and a half. And what I've been doing is chopping off the very top bit. That's ended up in that pile. Then I'm ripping all these stems off, rip the leaves off, put them with the chooks. And then I've been putting them over here and saving them to use as stakes in the ground. So They're not going to be something that I would bang in with a hammer, but they're good. I can construct some sort of like, climbing support for plants, and I need some support for my dahlias at the moment, and we've got the support here with the fence. Coming back round into this garden, into the circle garden, I'll show you what I'm thinking of doing, because things like I never can remember what they're called, but the metal spike stakes, they're so expensive to buy all of those sort of things en masse, and I'm just trying to keep it using what we've got as much as possible. So I thought, why not put, because I know I've got the support here on the fence, right, but it's not real tall, and because we've got the dip going in and out like this one here, it's not going to have a lot of support other than this one here. So these are tubs that I got from Bunnings, and I've literally just pushed the actual stem of the fennel in there, leant it back, and done that all the way along. Nothing's been connected, but I'm just going with the idea of the fact that I can attach the fennel to the fence, and then I can let the actual dahlias get more support as they go up. That's better. Sorry, the sun was in our eyes. Like that one there's not connected. But that's all they need, is just something to stop them falling forwards. And by the time the dahlias grow, you're not going to really see it too badly from the other side. And there's the sunshine garden from this side. So it still looks quite nice. Yeah, I'm going to try that, see how it goes, and it might work. The whole thing of putting them in pots is all new for me, so if it works, I think there's some really, it's going to be really good if it works with the dahlias in the pots for me. Actually, I need to go back in there because I just wanted to show you one more thing. So you know how I've cut down the fennel really hard, and people might think, wow, that's not going to grow again. And also the salvias, the way I've done it. We'll go back in here and I'll show you two examples of what I did. I'm trying to think when it was. Probably a couple of months. It was probably in spring. But what I did is I cut back this is my pink sage, and it's already starting to come back into flowers. So this is coming back beautifully. This was massive. This was just covering this whole cedar, and that beautiful delphinium there. It was covering this whole cedar and just hogging out all these other plants. So the same situation was happening again, that this was going crazy. But I do love this plant, and the monarch butterflies love it too. So I'm definitely keeping this plant in my garden, and it will be one that I sell. So that one's been cut back. And then this is the fennel that I cut back. I've only cut back a couple of them. But isn't that lovely? It's grown at a really nice height now. I don't think I've got a good angle with the sun. I'll move. Here's one here. So it's coming back. Nice, beautiful, soft, really, it's just pretty. It's a lovely flower to have in the garden. And this grows really tall. But because I've cut it back real hard, I don't have to do that every season. It's just basically like a good haircut, right? You just give it a good trim and it will pull through. The other fennel that's just back here, that's a bronze fennel. And that one's more for, I think that's the Florence fennel. I think that's one that if I wanted, I could use it for cooking. But mainly I'm doing it for my flowers. So it does work. It really does work. And, oops, I'm going to turn it back. Everything around here. Look what I'm trying to walk around behind, all the fruit trees. This is actually going to get, we're probably going to cull this nectarine here. So yeah, if you, I need to get somewhere where I can see and not have the light in my eyes. There we go. If you guys actually ever want to do a sunshine garden, it's so easy. Rory's covered in cobwebs. What have you been doing? I'll show you. Rory, what have you been doing? You've got cobwebs all over you. You've been looking for rabbits, haven't you? I'm going to sit down. I'll sit down over here on the stool. Calm down, Rory, calm down. So, it's just... that's better. So, yeah, if you ever want to start a sunshine garden, it doesn't have to be a big garden, doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can work in the shade, you can work in a sunny aspect of your garden, you can have an arid garden, you can have like a super lush garden, you could even have a real tropical type garden. Basically, just theme your plants suited to your area. Do some research, what grows in shady areas, what grows in sunny areas, what grows in this season, what grows in that season. And it doesn't have to just be flowers either. It could be vegetables. You know, you could bring in like a sunny theme with some watermelon or rock melon. And just go with any of the colours that you want to bring in, that real sunshiny colours. Make your own theme, and it's fun. Now, I play the whole suns, as in I've got 2 boys, so suns dash shine, that's what I call it, because they've also been involved in planting a few plants in here for me, and a couple of the plants, I got a tequila rose in there, they love their tequila, you know, that sort of stuff. So have fun with it and get the family involved if you want to. Otherwise, just do it yourself. And I mean, you can do sunshine garden, you can do rainbow gardens, you can do moon gardens, you could just have a blue theme, yellow theme, whatever. Let your imagination just go crazy. Honestly, you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to lose some plants, and you're going to find out stuff that you didn't even know will grow bigger than another one. You know, you're going to learn it all as you go, and there will be some failures, and you might have to dig something out of that garden and put it somewhere else in your garden. You can do it all in pots. You could do it with succulents. You really can just create themed gardens. And then where I am now, like, so you can see there's no arbour here now, we're going to put an arbour up so that I'll put something, I think I'll try and find something yellow, red, that sort of theme, so that when we walk out of this garden and into this garden, everything around it is sunshiny theme. And the chrysanthemums that are here, the mums, they're all sunshiny colours as well. And I didn't say, but the actual dahlias on the other side of the pallet fence, they're all in sunshiny colours too. Really, this whole area should come up nice and cheery. Look, if not just for fun, I mean, if I can get some cut flowers out of it, that's a bonus for me. For me, this is about a place to come sit. The spinebills love being in here, and it's a lovely vibe. The butterflies, and I've got like a little bit of water, and my water container, I'll show you what I did, how I made that. This is very, you know, just relaxed videoing here, so I'm sorry, I ain't no professional with that. Let's come in here. I probably should do some little stepping stones into here. But this is actually just one of those big old plates that you get. It's a brass coppery type plate, and it's got a really, you know, like a nice pattern. I think it's cool because it brings in the little touches of the brass and the copper. And then I just put a heap of stones in here, just little small stones, anything that I've found that's a little bit that I like. That way that the birds, when they stand on something, or the bees, they can actually drink without getting too hot. I keep it shallow. It gives them a sense of perception of the height of the water, because that's something that birds don't actually have, is a great sense of how deep the water is. Some birds, okay? So that way they can come in here, have a little drink. When it's really hot, this area provides a bit of shade, which is why I've also kept the fennel above it. The tree above it's giving them some shade. This is a lovely statue that I got a while ago, and I don't mind that she's looking a little bit rustic. I like that vibe. Underneath it, what it's sitting on is a vase that I got. It's an indoor vase that's been mosaiced. Probably worth a fortune, but like, you know, I got it for next to nothing, and I love it. And it's also sunshiny colours. Well, it used to be really bright red, but it's fading after, this has been out here for a few years now. But it does look nice. I used to have, I'm coming back out now, I used to have a sun on that tree, and it was a mirror sun, and it was really lovely, but it broke, and the weather knocked it down. But that's the sort of thing that I want to put up there. Oh, look, we got a rainbow just then. Did you see it? Yeah, so you can put whatever you want. You can put wind chimes. This area really needs to be prettied up. We've concentrated so much on getting the infrastructure all up the back there behind us that I haven't given this the nurturing, because for me this is a very mindful place, and I love seeing the changes. I love sitting and just watching the birds drinking, and it's a nice place to sit and have a cup of tea and talk with a friend, or just sit quietly 5 minutes, to have 5 minutes on my own. Rory sits on that chair a lot when I'm out in the garden, and he doesn't always want to be exactly right next to me, and he just wants to come back and have a bit of a spot where he can just have his own space, and that's his spot when he comes out into the garden, that he goes and sits on his own. So that's right now as we are today. It's going to change, definitely going to change as the season goes on. We're going to have dahlias, we're going to have more flush colour through here, and hopefully I'll get some sunflowers at the back section there too. So I'll say see ya, and thanks for watching. It's a bit, the only thing I really want to try and say to you is you are going to get these moments where there's changing and transition in the garden, and you go, oh, that doesn't look so good. But that's okay, because, and also to remove things, it's not like a failure for me to cut back that fennel, because I'm using it all and it's letting more light in, and I know that that's going to come back. So just look at the transition, enjoy the change, and I'm going to actually plonk in a couple of other plants in here, and I like being able to change it up a bit. But if you want something that's consistent and not changing, then go with that style as well and stick to just perennials perhaps. It can be a lot more structured, a lot less rambly. You do your thing, and any questions, just please let me know, because I've got other areas in the garden. This is my theme. I'm more of a rambling girl, I ramble on, as you can tell. It's very much the way my garden is. I'm not a structured garden person, but if that's your sort of the way you like it, draw it up, plan it out, and look at go with layers of smaller at the front, and create rooms, all of that. Work out what you want to do in your garden, have fun. But I would definitely be happy if you wanted to write a comment, and you can contact me on Instagram or Facebook as well if there was something specific you want me to show in my content. I'd be really happy to do that for you. So for now, I'll say see ya, and today I'm going to get some sunflower seeds going and hopefully brighten this place up a little bit more during autumn. Okay, toodle pip everyone. Bye-bye.